right, it is 6:04. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everyone is here. Justin?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give the invitation?
Sure can. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this time to come together, and thank you for this time to conduct the business for Stamford ISD. God, I ask that you just give us wisdom as we make decisions that affect our teachers and kiddos. God, I ask that you just watch over us, continue to pour health into us. God, keep us all healthy as we're going to school. And God, I ask that you just give comfort to the school system and lost kiddo. And I ask that you just be with us and watch over us and our families. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Do we have any recognitions? Any citizen participation? Not. Next on the list, administrative reports. Should have all gotten a copy of those. Any questions? I don't have any questions.
Gave the principals the option to more virtually. So I'll start out. Does Mr. Chambers wants to go first?
I don't care.
All right, I'll go first while we get the principal set up. So bus, the new bus was delivered last week. We took it to Childress, and so it was nice to have that for travel. The lettering at the top that says Stamford Bulldogs and Lady Bulldogs is kind of not quite used to Northern blue, but it was a lighter shade of blue. So they had actually taken that back today, and they're fixing that today, and they're supposed to bring it back tomorrow. So anyways, it's got the nice travel seats, but it's yellow, so we can take it on the route if needed. And of course, our plan is eventually, cycle those out-of-town activity buses to route buses. So, we're fortunate. Thank you all for allowing us to purchase that bus, and hopefully we'll be able to purchase another one in the future. That's kind of the plan, I think. So as funds allow, we buy a bus each year to try to get our fleet kind of back where we would like it. So, but anyways, thank you for that. I appreciate allowing us to buy the bus. Campuses are doing a great job. Lots of cleaning going on, lots of disinfecting. Joe and I sat down, we scheduled just once a month where we could set aside just something extra that we can do, where we set aside a day each month where they would come disinfect and sanitize the campuses. I would say that they're doing that each day during the conference period anyways, but just as an extra measure to go in and spray our disinfectant solution across the campuses. We're setting aside a day to do that extra. Last year we did this, I don't know if y'all remember or not, I don't know if I even told y'all, but we did this during flu season. We felt like it really helped during flu season. We were fortunate during flu season last year, so just something that we wanted to do extra. I attended the Jones County Commissioners Court meeting this morning at 9 o'clock. The county did file for an exemption for face coverings. And so that exemption, I assume they did it this afternoon. They said they were going to file this afternoon. So that then will go to the governor's office. And so the governor's office has to sign off on that before Jones County becomes exempt. Last time when Jones County did it, it took like 24 hours. They're hearing that it's taking a little bit longer. There's some counties in the area that filed for that exemption, and it's taking a little bit longer. So we still are under the face coverings orders until if the governor's office approves that. So again, that would mean our students and staff will not be under the governor's orders. Kind of one of the areas that I would say that I still feel like we need to have masks is on a bus. When you put 40 students in a bus in a very confined area with a staff member, I think that's probably an area that We still need to have face coverings. So any thoughts, any questions or thoughts about that? I just feel like when you pack a bus full of kids, that's a tough, we could roll down the windows, which is a recommendation. If it's hot, that's gonna, that kind of defeats the air conditioning. If it's cold, it kind of defeats the heat. So I would say that's still kind of an area that we would look at. We'd also just kind of keep an eye on the local, our local situation as things arise, but we would be exempt here at Stamford. So we have had 2 positive cases with students, middle school students. We notified parents and staff of that several weeks ago. We had 1 positive case with staff last week, and then we were notified today of a positive case. So that's 4 cases total through 5 weeks of school. Of course, I would have hoped that we'd have 0, but I do think that's a low number of case at this point. And I think that again goes to cleaning and sanitizing. That we're really trying to have some due diligence there on cleaning and sanitizing, and so I appreciate everybody's effort on that. Football games and tickets, man, that's been another challenge. Each week it's something different, with who we're playing and how, and of course with us moving the game last week. We still are selling tickets through Ticket Spicket. They told me expect 3 to 5 days on the refunds for the Children's game, 3 to 5 business days. So like this week we're playing Floyd Data. You can buy tickets at the gate. We heard today that they'll be checking temperatures at the gate. And then homecoming obviously will be next week, and so we'll get some information about that out there. Feel like we'll have enough room there to accommodate hopefully everything that we need to accommodate on that. We'll get some information out there this week on homecoming. This week we've had a little bit of change. JV is playing Sweetwater at Sweetwater on Thursday. Coach Casey's trying to look for some junior high games and some additional JV games. So far, he hasn't had just a whole lot of luck. We had 1 school cancel on us today on a JV game. So he's, it's just one of those things. It's one of those years that each week we're kind of scrambling to try to make sure we get games if we can. So roof bids. Last week was the last week that was advertised for those. We've had some interest, I think. Several companies have contacted Stacy about that. We'll accept bids we'll open up bids, I think, on Friday, September the 25th. So I still have a little bit of time for them to come and take a look and put in seal the bid. Safety and security meeting. We'll have one likely in late October. I'll get some information out to the committee members on that, on the safety and security meeting. We do one of those each semester and in the summer. Canvas, I think teachers are getting a better handle on it. I think I haven't heard as many issues on Canvas here lately, and so I feel like we're adjusting to that. School closure plan, again, it's the same plan that we've had in place, that different stages, and depends on the percentages on each campus of students that are out. And TA won't allow closure longer than 5 days without switching to remote. That's not allowable. So if we did have to ever close down a campus for one of those benchmarks, then we do some kind of 2 to 3 day cleaning and not likely switch to remote. Probably would make up those days. It would be hard to switch to remote for like 2 days. It would be tough to do. Anyways, hopefully we won't need to do that, but just kind of reminding everybody of that protocol that we have in place. Food service. Y'all may have seen the advertisements that USDA and TDA announced that all students now qualify for free meals. That's through Seamless Summer Option, SSO, versus the NSLP. So there's some differences there. Again, if you think back, we qualify for CEP, so all of our middle school and all of our students qualify anyways. And we just actually have even less this year. Last year we averaged 5 students from the high school each day that were paid. I think we actually have less than that again this year. So we're not going to likely switch to that for a number of reasons. Number one, the money will go through December 31st, or if it runs out before then. We would also have to discontinue a la carte sales. You can't do that and have a la carte sales, so we would have to do away with that. Then again, it really only affects just a couple kids, just a handful of kids, because everybody qualifies for free and reduced lunch, middle school and below. So we've looked into it. I've talked to Aaron Mark about it, and there's just not really a need to do it at this point. Tacit TASB, I know y'all are excited about the online convention. Just remember, I need to know if you're going to virtually attend Tacit TASB. If you would, let me know at some point so I can get you registered for that. So far, I've got two board members registered. So board hours, remember they're it's kind of been suspended through January 31st. After January 31st, the board hours go back into effect. So, all right. Any questions about any of that? That was quite a bit. Questions, concerns?
Crickets.
All right. Mr. Chambers?
Where do I need to stand?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle, I can round it down. Ooh, that's weird. All right, well, we are off and running at Oliver. We've had a successful kickoff to the year in spite of our changes and challenges. Kids and teachers are extremely happy to be at school. We're having a good time. Most of our modifications have been positive with very little issues. Dismissal, a little bit of a PR problem there for a little while, but I think our changes were necessary and they're definitely safer than they've ever been. And we are loading our last vehicle 10 minutes after the bell rings. So I think 10 minutes are worth keeping everyone safe and sound and going. So I couldn't tell you how long it took to run before because I never really was concerned with it, but it wasn't much longer than 10 minutes, or shorter than 10 minutes before. So our remote learning has been a challenge, but our teachers are getting used to Canvas. We're using it in the classrooms as well as for our remote learners. So we're getting more used to it every day, but it's got lots of bells and whistles that we have to learn, and we're getting better at that. We celebrated our summer reading program by supporting our local movie theater, and took a group of 40 kids to the movies and treated them to a day. They met their goal over the summer, and we hope to continue that next summer and grow it, and hopefully have most of our kids go on the next go round. We're deep in our process of trying to determine where our students are in regards to time lost last spring with our learning. We're taking, this week we are taking MAPS testing, which is a measure of academic progress. It's a program that we're using that we're replacing Ames Web testing. Remember we talked about that before. Tests a lot of the same measures, but it's a little bit more less time consuming. It gives some really good information. We're also TPRI testing and interim assessments, just trying to get a good idea where the kids are. And we'll use all that data to start interventions as we go forward, try to get everybody caught up. And we've got lots of catching up to do. We're learning that very quickly, that it's definitely had an impact on our kids. But we've got some good plans in place. I think we'll be in good shape by the end, but it's going to be a lot of work between now and then. We got Camp Great Spruce coming up. We're looking forward to that. They have made lots of different changes for the safety of the kids, and talked to Mr. Brewer, and we reviewed all those procedures, and we feel comfortable and safe of taking the kids, and we think it's worth giving them that opportunity to go, because it's first thing they asked when they came to open houses, are we still going to get to go to Camp Great Spruce? So we're excited to be able to give them that opportunity. As Mr. Corzine said, y'all keep us in your prayers. It has been a tough week, but we are dealing with our loss, and we're taking care of each other, and most of all, we're taking care of the kids. So keep us in our prayers.
Just a couple things on that, what he mentioned. You know, Oliver's done a great job with the situation. It has been a very tough week, and I appreciate the staff and them being open to kids and visiting with kids. Mr. Chambers done a good job communicating with parents on the situation, and he's got another letter that's going to go out, I guess tomorrow. Is that right?
No, it went out this
Went out
afternoon.
this afternoon.
Yeah.
So he sent out 2 letters and just communicated with parents. Really good, thoughtful, really good letters. He's done a nice job, and his staff has done a nice job in a really, really tough situation. So definitely need to keep that family in your prayers, and also the staff. I mean, our staff, you know, dealt with some things. You know, staff members were on the scene at the situation, and just a tough thing for everybody involved. So just keep them in your prayers. Camp Grady Spruce, you know, to be real honest, it wasn't a very difficult decision for us. You know, if parents and kids don't feel comfortable going, they don't have to go, and we certainly understand that and respect that. You know, for our kids to be able to do something like that outdoors is, you know, not all of our kids get to experience that, and so I just didn't feel like that we could take that away from them. So we're moving forward with it, and if parents don't feel comfortable, they certainly don't have to go. But I feel like Camp Grady Spruce will do a great job handling the situation and keeping our kids safe. So. All right, Mr. Price, you ready?
Yes, sir. All right, so at the middle school, last Wednesday we had one activity. Can you hear me? We had one act. Oh, is it too loud? We had one act play practice tryouts. Miss Patterson came by. You know, we are the defending champions, so we're very proud of that. So she's already got that rolling. Football, 7th grade is 2-0. 8th grade is 1-1. Watched a lot of 8th grade football in my life, with like any other coach. And I'm telling you right now, that children's 8th grade they're going to be something to watch. They're pretty good. So, because I know ours is. Julie Bryant started Suicide Prevention Week this week. She at lunch today had 3 or 4 videos for them, and then talked to them during the tutorial stuff about some things. We had some students show at the West Texas Fair. Saw some pictures on that. So it looked like we had some that were successful. The mask that was on your table, Bailey Tolliver Chevrolet contacted me and asked if they could give us 500 masks, and I said sure. And if we take pictures with them, they'll give us $500 to our campus. So that was a no-brainer. That's about all we have going. I know y'all probably know, but Dylan Mulestein broke his femur at the rodeo this past weekend. So he's at Cook's I guess in Dallas, or I guess he was in Fort Worth where it happened. So he's in Cook's, and he broke his femur, had surgery. So he's still up there. With him, that'll take our remote learning to 8. He'll have to remote learn for a little while because he'll be out for quite at least a week, maybe 2. So I don't know if y'all heard that, but he had broke his femur. That's a hard bone to break, but so keep him and his family in your prayers. And that's about all we got going right now at the middle school.
All right, thank you, Mr. Price.
Sir.
Silky, you ready?
Yes, sir. Well, kind of piggyback off what the Mr. Chambers and Mr. Price have said. You know, the biggest thing for us is, man, we're just super excited to be back in person. And, you know, just since I haven't had a chance to talk to you all since we started, and we had a great, you know, back to school week. We had great in-service. I know the staff was super excited to be back. It was even better when we got to see the kids and we've had some struggles, obviously moving to to the online Canvas for our online students. We kind of trained them in less than a week. We rolled it out and our teachers did it, but just like back in the spring, they've kind of championed it and we've worked through some issues and it seems to be going pretty smoothly now. At the high school, we've had up to, we started with 6 online learners the first week of school. We've gotten up to 14 online learners. We're back to 8 as of today. And so, that's probably the most challenging thing is just, dealing with, who's online today or who's online this week, who's coming back, when are they coming back, when are they supposed to be here or are they not? So, but our teachers are doing a great job of that. We put into their schedule this year a PLC period, and we think that that's been real beneficial for us here at the high school, allowing our teachers to, one, meet within content areas to help plan these online lessons and work through issues with Canvas. And then also, they're utilizing it 2 to 3 days a week to meet with their online students and in that synchronous setting of Zoom and being able to work through, in real time, work through the instruction and any problems or issues they're having. So that's been good for us. We also went this year to more of an intervention style with our TCB period. And I think that's been really good for us so far. Basically, I'm joking around calling it academic probation for some of our students. And at the 3-week progress report, any kids that were failing, we required them to go to TCB until the end of the 6 weeks, which is this week. And man, that's been an incentive for our kids because they want to go to long lunch every day. And the ones that are having to go to TCB right now, I've already been seeing their grades having been improving, and I think they're looking forward to the end of the 6 weeks so they can get off of that. But it's also been good for our teachers, being able to pull students and work with them in a smaller setting. Kind of a secondary, a lot of times it's real hard for intervention. It's not, we don't have the built-in intervention times that elementary does. So it's been good for us. It's been good for our kids that have been out for numerous reasons to be able to go back and get help in those times. Our students are so busy, before school, after school, that's really hard to find time to, when you get behind, it's really hard for them to find times to get things caught up. So that's been good. It's definitely a new normal. Y'all heard the other 2 principals talk about it, but man, I got to brag on our kids. They've done everything we've asked them to do. I honestly thought it would be a lot harder to keep mask on and ask them, get them to do the things at the high school level. But, they've to their credit and to our community's credit and parents' credit, they've done everything we've asked them to do. And a lot of it's just because they want to be here. They want to be here and they know that's just part of it. They don't like wearing the mask, but they do it. And so, we've been doing well with that. Man, thank goodness we're getting to play sports. Football is back and getting to be out there and doing that. Played very well against Hamlin, number 2 team in the state. Went and beat Roscoe, and then played pretty well, at least, for the most part. Kind of got away from us at the end the other night against Childress. But man, I've been really impressed with our kids on the football field and the effort they've shown. Our cross country girls, man, they've been outstanding so far. They've went to 3 meets and won all 3 of them. So excited about what this year holds for them too. College fairs, that's going to be a little different this year. We usually go to college fairs in Cisco and Haskell, and obviously they're not doing those this year, but we were looking at it today and they got some really neat things planned, some virtual college fairs, and really probably more, if you use it the right way, it's probably more informational than going to the actual college fairs, because they're able to watch videos and ask more in-depth questions about the colleges they're interested in. They're able to, within the college fair, go ahead and start going through the application process and the financial aid process. So we're pretty excited about that. We're going to host that here on October the 5th. And so I think that'll be good for our kids. It's different, but you know, it is what you make of it. You know, we got homecoming coming up. We got ag kicking off. They had their back to school event. We got Green Hand Day I believe it's next Tuesday in high school. And so they're getting going. Senior retreat is coming up the first Thursday of October, or Wednesday of October, last Wednesday of September. And then FAFSA night is the last Thursday of October. And then we got a couple SAT, ACT days, school days here coming up. So just like always, you know, the COVID ain't stopped us. We're still doing quite a bit here at the high school. And that's all I got.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have the consent agenda items.
No. No.
I started saying, I think there's somewhere you can
Strike
try.
B and C and D.
Strike B, C, and D. Okay.
Sorry.
It's like, I think there's some not on here.
Yeah, like most of them. Yes, strike B, C, and D.
Got a motion by Curtis. Second by Cal. Any further discussion? Call for a vote.
Jennifer Cadet,
Yes.
Kelly Miller, Curtis Birdsong,
Yes.
Wayne Baker,
Yes.
Eric Strand,
Yes.
Zach Logan,
Yes.
Justin Corzine.
Yes.
So on that, just note, board meeting is on October the 19th. October 12th is a holiday, so we just bumped it to the next Monday. Is that an issue for anybody?
Did you say it would be the 19th?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm doing tomorrow, so I'm sure that it's all good. All right. All right, that motion passes unanimously. Next, we have the district asynchronous.
Okay, you should have a copy of that attached to the agenda, and just kind of the process of development real quick on this is each campus developed some specific procedures for their campuses. We took those, put them together. Then we had virtually attended a workshop with the service center. They kind of walked us through, actually had a really good template that we plugged our information in, walked us through that. We answered all the kind of questions on it related to specifically what we're doing. And then I went ahead and I sent it to one of the consultants that did that workshop, and we worked on it back and forth one-on-one for a little bit and got it kind of fine-tuned. And then I sent it to Terry Wyatt to look over the special education piece of it. And he suggested one little piece on homebound in there, and we added that. And so I do think it's ready. Do I know for sure it's going to be accepted by TEA? No, but I do feel really good about it. We put quite a bit of work into it. It mirrors what we're doing. Just kind of briefly, just talking about a few things. And here we are. It does state that we are tracking student engagement daily. We're doing that through Canvas and through contacts with parents. School grading policies are the same as they were before COVID last year. So school grading policies for remote learners are the same as in person. The 90% rule on attendance is still in effect. It's been a bit of a challenge for some of our online learners about the 90% rule, that they still gotta daily engage in every class to get 90% attendance for that class for credit. I mentioned earlier, Mr. Silky mentioned earlier, the PLCs, that was a piece of this plan, is that we are able to have PLCs in the secondary campuses. So basically what that is, they have their conference period and they have another period where they're working on, it's aligned through core subjects. So they're working on alignment through that subject, but they're also working on online learners. Some of our plan is asynchronous. We also have some of it that's actually synchronous, where they log on and meet virtually face-to-face, I guess, one-on-one with staff. So the asynchronous plan can have synchronous parts to it, and ours does. There are some times in here for counseling and special ed and interventions and enrichment and those kind of things as well. Our campuses are doing some things with SEL, social emotional language, and that's one of the things that TA is looking at, and we are doing that, and they are offering that to our online learners as well. The rest of it's really just kind of materials and those kind of things. Any questions about the asynchronous instruction plan?
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the district asynchronous plan as presented.
Second.
Got a motion by Justin, second by Eric. Any further discussion? Call for a vote.
Jennifer Goodell,
Yes.
Kelly Miller,
Yes.
Curtis Birdsong,
Yes.
Wynn Baker,
Yes.
Eric Strand,
Yes.
Zach Logan,
Yes.
Justin Corzine.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Next, technology equipment.
And I think we got this attached late to the agenda, so I apologize for that. We thought we had it attached and it didn't get attached. So these are MacBooks for our teachers, is what this is. So we're upgrading our MacBooks to our teachers, so that's why the quantity is 65. And obviously, with what we're doing, I think it's a pretty important piece of what we're doing. So 65 MacBooks for our teachers.
Is the state providing funding for tech stuff?
So they are a little bit, yes, and it was through, that's where we purchased those hotspots through that bulk purchasing. But it's kind of a limited scope, and like if you had it budgeted, that's one of the, from the way I understand it, is that if you had it budgeted, because we had talked about that, like, ooh, what if we could throw some iPads and MacBooks in there? MacBooks wouldn't have been in that, but iPads would have been. Now, and especially if it was after May the 20th too, that was another. Now again, all this CARES funding stuff is kind of a big, I don't know how to say it politely, but it's a tangle. It's all tangled, is what I would say. It's tangled. So I think there is a little bit of hope that maybe some of the stuff we order after May 20th, we might get reimbursed on some of that. But I think it will be after all of this stuff kind of flows through, and they'll see, that's what I believe, after all this other stuff flows through, and we'll see if they have any money left over. But there was some talk about reimbursing some stuff after May 20th.
I know the news was talking about AISD. The state would pay half, if they paid half, and then if they got the city to kick in a quarter, they didn't have to pay anything for it. I think somebody read something wrong.
Well, that's a great, so on our hotspots, I've reached out to the county and the city, and we're looking into that. So if the city uses some of their CARES fund money, if they pay 25%, it's a 1-to-1 match. So we would reimburse the money that we did pay for that. So we're working on it.
Okay.
We're working on it. So, and like I said, Mayor Decker's been open to it. So. Good questions.
Is there a motion?
Yes. I move that we approve the purchase of the technology equipment as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Curtis, second by Justin. Any further discussion? Call for a vote.
Jennifer Goodell,
Yes.
Kelly Miller,
Yes.
Curtis Birdsong,
Yes.
Wynn Baker,
Yes.
Eric Strand,
Yes.
Zach Logan,
Yes.
Justin Corzine.
Yes.
It is 6:38. I believe we are going to convene into executive session. We back on live? I had a motion by Zach, second by Eric to adjourn. Any further discussion? Call for a vote. Jennifer Cadell, yes. Kelly Miller.
Yes.
George Birdsong.
Yes.
Quinn Baker.
Yes.
Eric Strand.
Yes.
Zach Logan.
Yes.
Justin Corzine.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. It is 7:22. We are adjourned.